Alrighty, everyone. Clap, big old clap. Thank you, everyone who has been waiting. Welcome yet again to yet another Candy Egg stream. Now, today's stream is going to be very exciting because I'm going to be working on some artwork for the Exobiology project episode 4, which is currently in the works. If you haven't already seen all 3 of those previous videos, you definitely should. They are far and above the best things on this channel. Otherwise, how are we all doing today? Even if you're watching well into the future, I would like to know how you're doing. My wee little homunculi scrambling all about. Gotta make sure that you're all doing a-okay. I have been alright myself, but before I get into drawing, I do just want to say we have 2 friends over in the chat who have been here during my technical difficulty. I finally got the VTuber thing working again. It's not necessary, but it is a lot more fun to look at for everybody. I also decided just not to have music, so we are gonna cope with that. Oh, we got a 3rd friend? Okay, let's address everyone before we start getting into spoiler territory for the new episode, which, again, is not going to be out for a long time. Let's not overdo it. It's not very far in, but we are going to be talking about it. We're going to have so much fun today. Oh my goodness, there's so many more people than I anticipated. That's at least 3. So first and foremost, 6'4 Crusader says they love this series. Thank you very much. That is very dear and near and dear to my heart. I genuinely did not expect this project to do this. I kind of just wanted to make it as a creative project, and that is always fantastic to hear. We got Federico Martella. I'm a substitute teacher, by the way, so you just know that I pronounced that correctly. But so sorry about that, friend, but they say "What up?" so I had to humor that. Aztec Dragon says hello as well. Hello, Aztec Dragon. Fabri Creative, hello to you as well. And Andrew Fong says, hey. Iconic Dave Strider content. Everyone should read Homestuck. So, we got another person. Okay, I need to set this up. Pisca Con Pinia says, hi, exclamation point. Exclamation mark, rather. Hello, 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 dearest cherubs, little homunculi of mine. Let me get everything moved correctly. I can only use one screen when I have my art thing plugged in, so we are going to cope with the fact that I have to have that over on the side of the screen. Oh, actually, I should move this up so people can see. Sorry about this. My little creature's right here. My little critter. Scooch. Alright, so now I should be able to minimize that. Oh gosh, now that's on the screen. Oh wait, I'm pretty sure I need that. Sorry, friends. You know what? This is a good blank thing to have up here. This is the music that was going to be up here. Then I need this, and I also need the chat so that I can see it. Just some guy asks, what is happening? It is happening. All of it. Okay, fit. There we go. There, we fixed it. The screen is an odd size on this art tablet, so the programs like to explode sometimes. Vintage for kudos. I'm just gonna lurk, but hi. Hello. Relatable. Understandable. Okay, I see what's happening. It just doesn't want to be that width and that height. Okay, we've got it settled. Just some guy is continuing. I saw cool alien designs and dropped in. Well, just some guy. If you haven't already seen the other parts to my Exobiology project, you definitely should. I think it is quite worth a watch. Unfortunately, the newest episode got copyright whatevered, so I can't make 2 cents on it. But when it was posted, I did get to monetize YouTube, so that is fantastic because it means I can waste more time doing this. Hell yeah. You do indeed see an arrow of Alpha Xeno Pete. Yes. Yes. Look at his little smoochy face. You give everybody a little smooch for showing up. So these creatures I've been working on first are the ones that I had the most solid plan for. Let's go ahead and open up the new drawing so far. We're gonna see the new way that I draw in here. So these are indeed based on arrowworms, or rather a cursed interpretation of what an arrowworm's anatomy is like. Because I really wanted to, if anyone's seen the first, I think I say it in every episode, that this exobiology project is supposed to be like very similar to Earth. That's the tool I wanted. Very similar to Earth, but take it in a different direction. And that's what I really wanted to do. Just something like, what if an arrowworm became a fish instead of whatever Pikaia would be described as? Oh, I forgot what the things that look like it are called. Hold on. Does anybody know what these are called? This is such a beautiful drawing. Lancelets or something? Yeah, so instead of like a base like a lancelet, I took a base like an arrowworm and just sort of ran with it. And as everyone can see, it's sort of like this is one of the fin worms from the most recent episode. It sure is looking like a thing. Ooh64 Crusader has a question. Will the worm creatures be blessed with bones in the next episode? Yes, indeed. That is actually one of the main things that I'm going to talk about. Spoilers for everybody. Spoilers. Ooh, also, Alpha does know they are called lancelets. That sounds correct. I've probably been have I been pronouncing them wrong? I think I called them lancelts or something. Either way. This group in the following episode will possess bones. In fact, although they are somewhat like fishes on Earth, they are going to be very heavy because they have echinoderm-like bones in their skin. So like echinoderms, like starfishes, they can sort of contract their skin bones together and just shrink. Then they can expand them apart and grow again. So basically, with this tentacle, for example, this like feeler little thing, there's a bunch of little tiny bones in the skin, and it can use those bones in its skin to retract its skin and therefore retract everything in it and just pull it. I can't gesture with my hands, I'm stupid. And just like pull it inward. And that's fun. I have a drawing I might be working on that has the anatomy of these things, the internal anatomy of these things that don't have a name yet. But I should probably go ahead and start working on this. Let's go ahead and add a quick group. Krita is not the best program in the world, but we cope because it's free. Oh, right, no, this is called Shade. Oh, gosh. There we go. Everyone can hear me type with only my first two fingers. Isn't that fun? Ooh, we have another question from Andrew Fong. How long will... Oh gosh, I can't read the edge of that. Let's expand it. How long will this be? This stream? That is an excellent question. I sort of did this stream just as a way to force me to work on this. So I don't know how long it's going to be, but if you mean this episode, I am not sure either. I have not made very much... Pardon? I have not made very much progress on this episode yet. In fact, the last episode took over a year to make, so we are gonna have a fun time. If you mean just this stream, though, I'd imagine at least an hour, maybe 2 hours, depending. I am not the best at talking and drawing at the same time, so we are gonna see. But I'm currently just using this this nice Krita brush called Quick Shade, I believe. Yeah, Pencil 6 Quick Shade. It just really works with the way that I like to draw. I like to draw with pencil. And I've been experimenting since it takes so much time and effort to sort of amalgamate pencil drawings with the digital. I've sort of just started doing sketches in pencil and then digitizing it all with brushes that look sort of like pencil. I'm not sure if it's faster or not yet, but we will see. Andrew, so... the stream, so I'm going to guesstimate this stream is going to be around an hour or two, so not too long. If anybody wants to just go ahead and sit in and also draw, that is always fun. Not quite sure how I want the shading to look on this bad boy, but that's pretty fun. Wow. I'm going to be adding hooks on these other ones eventually, but most of that detail is going to come in later when I start smearing all this shading. Oh, didn't like that. Whee! This is how it is done, friendos. Yonky! With a picture that I can't quite tell what it is. Hello, fellow gremlin. Thank you for noticing. I thirst for more item label. By the way, your drawing is amazing. Thank you very much, Yonky. We love item label. In fact, I've got all my item label creations right next to me, staring at me with their beady little soulless, hungering eyes. They have a deal right now, I think, for if you buy their $40 brush, you get a bunch of free random clothing items because they're kind of trying to get rid of space in their warehouse, I assume. I really wanted their shirts with Papoopy on it, and it's just a locket, and it says memories or something, but I was too late to getting it, so it's gone forever. And we're all gonna see, I do digital art in a very evil way where I just use one brush the entire time, so that's fun. Everyone have a good time judging me for that. Ooh, and Yonky owns a PP, and he looks like he eats drywall. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. That means your PP is fine and healthy. That is what they're supposed to do. They're actually supposed to eat drywall. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, you should look up item labels advertisements right away. That's the doctor's orders right there. They're very entertaining. The stupidity of those objects has given me much joy in a very joyless part of my life. I am doing much better now, but they proved very helpful at a very important time. Let's go ahead and check how we're looking. That's fun. That looks pretty good. I'm trying not to spend too much time on this, because like if you zoom out, this is all anybody's gonna see when it's on the screen, is like in this quality. And that looks fine, but I have an intense need to be able to zoom in. Ooh, Just Some Guy is back. So I love your alien design. So if it wouldn't be too much trouble to ask, how do you design alien? Like, what's my thought process when I sketch out my little dudes? So that is an excellent question. One of my favorite things about speculative evolution is the idea that once a form is pushed far enough, it can never go back. And it's just sort of following that in a series of decisions. Like, for example, this critter, which does not have a name yet. There's two other things that do have names. Let me make a group quick. I will continue this thought in a second. New thing. So there's also this thing, this flatfish-like device. It is very closely related to the new thing. As you can see, the new thing also has these two siphons, these eyes, the funny mouth, and with the front four tentacles forming sort of antennae. And these both form a similar group, but as with this one having those bones in its skin, this flat one, what it has done is it is specialized to rest at the sea floor. So this entire part of its body, all of those bones in its skin have fused together. And so now this entire line of organisms from the, I guess this is a head, from the head back to its little tail type device, that is completely solid. it cannot re-evolve flexibility in this area. As well as the fact that, like, its siphons now face forward. That isn't necessarily permanent, but it would take a lot of change in its ecology to make the siphons point back down, because this is where they inhale, gesturing with my gesturing with my little hand. The water goes in here, it goes back here, and then it gets sprayed back out. Because they bury themselves in the sand and sit on the ground, they spray it up, like, behind their eye. So that way the sediment isn't disturbed under them, which would unbury them. In order for those to go back to reverse, that means that they would have to leave their niche of sitting on the floor like that, or at least stop sitting on the floor in sand, be somewhere where the substrate wouldn't disturb. So if I evolve this group further, those are still facing forward, which means that now, maybe they jet backward, like squid and stuff do, and then they can, so maybe they have like an escape route. They go like, pa-choom, and then they swim forward again. So now you can specialize them for doing that instead. And it's just sort of a series of, they can't go back from this, they can't go back from this, they can't go back from this, that results in that very, very fun, I guess more realistic approach. Like, always think of what it used to look like in its genetic line, what it used to do, what it currently does, how it changes to doing other things, etc., etc. Is the hard part a hollow tube or a flat piece on top? So that is an excellent question. So if you imagine like a worm tube, like a sock, like if the fibers in that sock had little rocks in them, like the fibers of the sock are its skin, and those rocks are its bones, and the fibers of the skin can just like pull together and move, and that is how its muscles work. But everything in the front half of that sock is fused into a brick now. Other than like right around its face. I guess that's a face. Yeah. That's another fun part, is the finworms, their eyes started super far back in basically the middle of their body, but now they got a face. That's fun. Squiddy specifications. Hello. If a flounder, a nautilus, and an arrowworm had a baby, you are right on with that. Heck yeah. Just some guy asked, what if they evolve water gun? That is a valid possibility. Now, a little bit of a spoiler. By the way, here's another thing. A little bit of a spoiler. I am going to have organisms evolve flight before they evolve to exist on land. And that is a fun thing that could happen, is they just start shooting water guns up at things flying, flittering, yeah, above the surface, like what are those fish called? Archerfish. Pichoom, pichoom. Yeah. Taco Mod stumbles across your Spec-Evo series, and I absolutely love the amount of detail you put in. Thank you very much. That is always nice to hear. I was just talking earlier, I put way too much detail in the drawings, but I can't not do that. Otherwise, it makes me feel like screaming. Jay says, yay, more speculative evolution. Thank you very much. I made this stream in an attempt to force me to work on this more, because I didn't want to work on it anymore today. But, we gotta be making progress. Yeah, I didn't expect candy eggs to be this gosh dang annoying. If you've seen other videos I made, you would know that that would happen. Yonky looks like the Dr. Nowhere art alpha. I don't know what that is. Is that a video game? In the words of Hank Hill, is that a video game? That wasn't very good. Oh well, we're gonna pretend that was like the world's greatest impression, and we're all gonna clap and laugh at that. Oh, Ben says, awesome series. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I said this earlier, but we are all gonna love and appreciate and not judge the fact that I use one brush to make art and do not swap. The creator of the boiled one. Oh, I saw that thing. I saw that. analog horror is what it's called. That was fun. I think I only saw the one video. There must be more. There must be. Squiddy specifications. Dr. Nowhere is another cool artist who usually does horror stuff. Yeah, we got some agreement there. I don't remember why I saw that video. I might have just seen somebody talking about it and not the actual video itself. I feel like I watched it, though. My brother might have showed it to me. Now I'm confused. My brother is Sparesy. Sparzy's been in some videos. The Hank Kill impression was extremely Sigma. I feel so Sigma. I'm liking these anthers or whatever you'd call that. I think that's what an anther is. I'm gonna try not to waste everybody's time and go Google what anther means. This is how I write the episodes. I just think that sounds like a right word, and then I go down a Google thing for like 20 minutes. Yeah, this tentacle needs to look like it's a little more far away. Zoom in. Meow. It's very important to make mouth noises, otherwise you can't really get the shading right. I like this little crease here, making it look like such a gross little flesh creature. This is when if anybody doesn't really draw much, this is when you realize drawing is just scribbling in a specific manner. Just some guy. Honestly, your art style would lend itself really well to analog horror. Ooh, thank you very much. I have drawn horror images a lot before, back when I was much more depressed than I am right now. So it's not really something I do when I'm in a good mood, but I would probably show if I do make something else. I have made horror images before. Ooh, I don't remember what it's called. I might get that up just to show real quick. Alphax, out of curiosity, do you post my artwork anywhere, like Twitter? So I do not have a Twitter. Thank you for dead naming Twitter, by the way. I get ads for Twitter and I don't know how to close it because it's called X now and the logo is X. But I have Instagram. Because I'm one of those bastards. So I do have an Instagram. It is also called Kandy Eggs, or Kandy with a K _ eggs. It's spelled wrong because it's my Minecraft username. That's a bit of Kandy Eggs lore. My Minecraft username, and that's why it's my username on stuff. That is really the only other social media I have other than YouTube. But YouTube is only sort of debatably a social media. I post my regular like paintings and paleo art and cartoon stuff there. I actually have my comic Tantum's Construct. Ooh, it's a comic about gay dinosaurs. That is posted up on that is posted up on Instagram under Kandy _ eggs _ comics, I believe. I'm actually working on a dub for that. Isn't that fun? So yeah, if you want to ask me anything, you want to see stuff, you want to see other drawings I've made, you can go ahead and go to Instagram at Kandy Eggs. Also, somebody at some point asked where they could send fan art, and then I didn't notice that comment on YouTube for like 3 months, and the Instagram would be the place to do that. In fact, if anybody wants to make fan art to have in the next episode, I will definitely include it. So, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Most of the videos have been solid images slowly rotating, so any other images anybody wants to donate for use in the video, that would be amazing. Oh no, I've been missing comments. Dog. Beetle Wee Wee says, I feel so Sigma. Sparesy has a beetle, the Beetle Wee Wee. I love that one. Ooh, Squiddy Specifications asks, do you have any favorite obscure invertebrate groups that I like to pull inspiration from? You're partial toward rotifers, good choice, and Nemertians. I don't even know what that is, but I will say that I think seed shrimp are very funny. Seed shrimp and... Oh, actually, seed shrimp are amphipods, aren't they? Now I don't remember. But I really like the way seed shrimp look, and amphipods in general look so alien because they're like arthropod body plan if they had a neck. Granted, a lot of insects have necks, like very literally. Especially things like lightning beetle larvae have very obvious necks. But it just looks so odd, you know? You really don't attribute long necks to anything but to vertebrates. So I think that's going to be my answer. Oh, and also skeleton shrimp, or skeleton amphipods. One of the oldest drawings for this sort of tangential alien project, I drew a thing. I accidentally built it almost exactly like a skeleton amphipod, and that's just hilarious to me. So skeleton amphipods, I look at them and go, that looks weirdly like the thing I thought I made up. And then for this project, I made up one design that I was gonna put in episode 2. I decided not to because I didn't realize that there were sea cucumbers that looked exactly like it. So I just decided, you know what, this is not something I'm gonna include. Ooh, we got lots of stuff. Alpha says, bam, there goes a new follow. Thank you very much. Pisca Con Pina says, do you have anything planned for future episodes, or are you doing everything on the fly? So I have a vague plan, and there's some big spoilers that I can't talk about, because that would sort of ruin the gravitas of the episodes. But in this next episode, like the name suggests, it's really going to be focusing on fish-type devices. Oh, actually, this is a point I was going to make in the video. You can call them fish. You can't call aliens plants, and you can't call aliens animals, and you can't call aliens insects, but you can call aliens fish, because fish is not a taxonomic group. It is a body plan descriptor. Isn't that fun? So there's a lot of people who will say, like, did you know that whales are actually fish and that humans are fish? That is not technically true, because fish does not mean that. Isn't that fun? So I think that's going to be a fun thing, because I've refused to call them plants or animals. I've called them animalogs, and I've called them plant something. I'll have to check back on what I called the xanthophores in the last episode. But I do make up a lot of it on the fly. Like in the next episode, I do want to do a lot of fish type devices. In the episode after this one, I think they're gonna go aerial, or I might just like expand the sea more. Eventually, things are going to get on land, but just not yet. But I definitely will have aerial things colonize land first, because I think that would be neat. And by aerial things, I mean things like flying fish type devices, where it's just like I just swim in the water, but I can get up into the air for like a minute, just because I think that's funny. But they'll obviously be a lot smaller than flying fish. More like the old idea that flying insects evolved from crustaceans that leapt out of the water and started flying. We now know that insects, while they still are crustaceans, fun fact, insects evolved to exist on land before they evolved flight. Speaking of insects, there's a fungus gnat. Hello, fungus gnat. They live in my beetle home. I really hope that my beetles breed so that their grubs can eat those little babies in the soil. Oh, I need to read more things. I think it would be funny if you drew your little dinosaur guy drowning in wee wee and he's just like thumbs up. That is wonderful. That is a great idea. I might have to do that on my dinosaur comic as just a silly little sketch. I drew one of Kyra, the Dinochirus. Or by the way, her name is almost Kira now. Like, it's a pun, right? Like, it's Dinochirus, but technically Dinochirus is supposed to be pronounced Dinochirus, and the fact that Kyra and Kira are both names, like human names, is just so funny to me that I might have characters flip-flop on what her name is pronounced as. But That's a fun idea. Alpha says, could have sworn you've seen a triggerfish artwork that was posted by a Candy Eggs on Twitter. That was indeed me. I think that was for Sky Young's contest. I'm pretty sure it was. And if I remember correctly, the winner of that contest got to pick what Sky would draw next. And I won one of the places. They got to pick what I'm pretty sure I'm just going to keep saying they because I'm not entirely sure what they would draw next. I immediately messed up. It's fine. And I ended up picking Hesperornis. I'm so bad at rolling the R that we're just going to cope. And Sky, was not confident drawing birds, but despite the fact that they are fantastic artists. I would have had them draw Temnodontosaurus, but they draw Temnodontosaurus so often anyways that I was just satisfied with the amount of Temnodontosaurus there. And they were like, is there anyone I can ask to help me understand how Hesperornis works? And I'm like, well, it's basically like a grebe. It's basically like a grebe or a loon. It's fine. And I was like, if you want to ask someone, I know someone who knows a lot about birds and bird-like devices. That's Lux. And Lux's art Instagram is pale_relics or pale.relics. And I was like, you can go see them if you want to know more about bird-like devices. So then Sky goes and asks them, and they say verbatim the exact same thing I said, which is just, oh yeah, it's basically like a loon or a grebe. You can just use one of those as a reference. And Sky didn't know that we were best friends. We're Moirels, diamond fingers. Didn't know that we were best friends, and thought that I just recommended another artist who knew a lot of stuff, and was just so lost at what to do. So funny that we gave the exact same answer. Okay, I need to catch up on stuff, and I need to save again. Seed shrimp are usually the common name given to ostracods. Ostracods, that's what they're called. I always forget. I live in a desert, so there's a lot of water creatures that I just don't know the names of, and it was ostracods is what I was looking for. Not amphipods. They sort of rhyme. Do I have long-term plans for this series, going all the way to sentience? You see, I do. I hesitate so that I don't spoil too much. The shading looks so uncanny right now. That's the way art works. I do have a lot of plans for future episodes. But I don't want to spoil too much because I don't have that much of a plan. But this next episode is going to mostly be fish. The episode after that is going to be flying stuff probably, and then more fish and stuff. Sort of like the Ordovician. Yeah. I guess this is sort of the Cambrian, the late Cambrian right now, in this episode. Of course, those are just vague descriptors of the complexity of organisms. I would like to get over to things like sapiens, but I am not going to go very far into it. I'm not very interested in language or culture studies or anything. I really like morphology, which is why I like to draw the aliens. So I'm probably just going to glaze over it, and if there is one that I decide, yeah, I want this to be the sapient thing, I'm probably just going to talk about it as though it's a mass extinction, like the worms part, with all the nematodes overlaid on the screen. Except, I don't want to spoil it. I can't say too many more of the plans because it'll give stuff away for the future. Ben says, do I know when the next episode will be released? That is an excellent question. I have no idea. The last episode took a year and a half to make. Pardon? The last episode took a year and a half to make that. I worked on it really on and off, but at the same time, this is gonna take a minute. The art I have to do at home. I can do a lot of the rest of it at other times. I'm fortunate enough that the job that I do gives me a lot of time to be on the computer. So I can do a lot of the writing and researching on my own time. But oh, I don't like that crease. But I can't really give any solid estimates. I was late with the last episode by a couple months. Like, my episode with the last episode, when I was more than halfway through, my estimates were not very apt. So I hesitate to give any estimates now. Am I gonna factor in the expanding star, says Andrew. I am indeed. There was actually, if anyone is really interested in knowing a lot more about stars and planets and stuff than I do, there was one person who made a bunch of really enormous comments on the first video, which mostly was about space. And because I know much less about space than a lot of people do, it was definitely not my forte, and I was not planning to go as in-depth to have an entire episode about space, but that's how it ended up happening. They gave me a lot of good corrections, which ended up giving me a lot of inspiration for the next episode. If I remember correctly, I asked them to sort of copy-paste all of their comments into one video, or in one comment, so that I could pin it. I don't think they have, but it should be the pinned video, or the pinned comment on that first episode should be one of their comments. If you wanted to go search for the rest of those, that would be awesome. And they do bring up a lot of things like expanding star, and like how a lot of the stuff that I presented wouldn't quite work properly. But that just means that I get to correct it in the following episode. I might be making like a brief space update episode, because the planet Lapis has had life on it for so long that I can just be like, yeah, this vague amount of time, this happened. Hee, I just didn't mention it before. The moon is now tidally locked to the planet and has been for a while. Haha. I just didn't bring that up. Yonky says, not gonna lie, if you had a streaming mic, just put your mouth on it and see what happens. They'd be like, oh. Just kidding, I'm not gonna bite the microphone. Unless I just did. Nobody knows. Just Lynn. Yeah, I read that properly, I'm pretty sure. What's this? You just got this live recommended. So, hello, I'm Candy Eggs, everyone's 8th or so favorite queer. It's my iconic intro that I think I forgot to do on this one. This is an alien. This is a plausible, scientifically plausible alien. Picture of Adam Savage going plausible. I should have put that in the thumbnail. The picture's really funny. So this is a plausible alien for a series of videos that I've been working on about plausible aliens. I should close this. There we go. That'll make my computer run better. This is sort of like if an arrow worm was also an echinoderm and also an eel and also a polycate and also a tadpole and also a squid thing. Yeah. Again, just Lynn. I'm pretty sure that is how your username is meant to be read. That is what this is about. If you want to see more about that, you go ahead. They're really long. I have a very poor mic quality and I sound kind of annoying. That's what we're in for. We enjoy the ride. Oh, thank you very much. They say really cool alien. Thank you, thank you. You see, one of the funniest parts about these aliens is that they look so scary and big, and then I reveal this silly little scale chart and it's 3 inches tall. I'm not too sure how big this one is. I should probably say, the flatfish type device, where'd you go? This thing is like sand, and it puts in the sand, and then it camouflages in the sand, and then it grabs things in front of it and pins them down with this thing. It's cephalic fin is what I named it in the other episode. Meanwhile, this is a very closely related organism that instead of doing that, it avoids predators larger than itself by existing within the intertidal zone. So you'll see it's very serpentine and very flat, which means that it can exist in extremely shallow water and also like crawl over sand if need be. And I'm just gonna like mention that and then be like, hee hee, this might evolve to live on land, and then it doesn't, because I think that's funny. But and by the way, I think it's funny because it's to reiterate that life doesn't have a goal. Like, nothing's goal is to exist on land. Like, those environments don't exist as hospitable enough because the plant type devices cannot exist there. So it's really just sand and rocks and gravel. Like, literally an alien planet still. So it's just inhospitable. So it crawling over the sand really is just to get into other tide pools. And it can get into burrows. And it obviously has these two big antennae to sense, like, are things smells coming from the left or the right? And then it can also, like, move them around like a cockroach's antennae or something. And essentially this is sort of acting vaguely like a sea crate, but also vaguely like a, how a lot of octopodes go into very shallow intertidal pools and just eat things that get stuck in there. And because of the way that these things' gills work, they have an intake that looks kind of like a nose, and then they have these two exhausts. They can really like hold water in there, so they can like leave the water and still be able to breathe, and then still be able to breathe in very poorly oxygenated water because they have blood. They have chlorocrurin, which is such a difficult word to say, and I really struggled to say it in the video. Yay, scribbling. It's too dark there. There we go. Chlorocrurin. And I already forgot which blood that does. I have chlorocrurin, and then hemocyanin, and then another one. And I don't remember which one's benefits are which, other than the blue one lets things exist in cold and high-pressured water, because that is the blood that a lot of cephalopods and arthropods have. One of them is resistant to carbon monoxide poisoning, and I find that really interesting. It is looking kind of neat. This is like the sucky part of its face. Like the grabby, sucky bit that lets it just lodge on rocks. This and this back part. I'm going to be making a guide to how their mouth works, considering, like, the way that this thing's mouth is sort of like the telltale anatomical trait that is going to be universal to their group, so I really need to have a good understanding of names for stuff before I start saying, like, the fronty bit of the thing is different in a way. Oh yeah, it's looking pretty cool. Yeah, this is how long art takes. Let's bring back that. Darken this up because I need to add the little mouthy thing there. Now let's go ahead and add these like little creases, because I like these tentacles to make it look like they have a lot of depth to them, like gross little fingers. Is this like from a fictional world or more like theorizing about the future? You're still kind of lost. That is a-okay. So this is from a project where I basically made up a planet and am talking about the way that life emerges very similar to Earth in this circumstance, but the way that things diverge from very similar points is incredibly different. So it's sort of like if Earth was almost the same, like what could go different just randomly. If that makes sense. It's basically like my own little alien world, and then I make things evolve through time. That's probably a much more apt explanation. Andrew asks, can you go into detail about the transition from herbivory to carnivory in the cover crawlers, since that transition is kind of rare? That is an excellent question. That is one of the things that I wanted to go over more in depth in the following episode. That's one of the things that I did not explain very well. But the reason that I didn't really touch on it is because the animal logs, like the animal type devices that currently exist, are almost entirely made of like slime. and water. So they're essentially like jelly little jellyfish type devices. And so the plant type devices are so much more nutrient dense um, that the cover crawlers gained an advantage from being able to eat them, because it was really just a matter of nothing could eat them until they died, because they were too rubbery and too hard and they just sort of repelled everything. But things that are things aren't really specialized for carnivory at that point, because there's not really anything that's really made of meat yet. Like everything's just sort of like 99% water, 1% amino acids. I'm good at giving estimates. But that is something that I really want to talk about more, because the cover crawlers, originally I was going to make like 5 of them, and then I only drew 1, which is why there's like a weirdly huge jump between the other Octoradiatherians and cover crawlers. I feel so impressed with myself for remembering the names of the things that I made up. That is another thing I want to change. I think I'm going to stop giving them pretend scientific names because I can't remember any of them. I'm just going to start naming them stupid things. That's looking pretty cool. I like the little wrinkly bits. Taco Mod asks, how do the things in the fronty bit work? That is an excellent question. So, for this purpose, I'm gonna open a different picture. Here's one. So this is a more basal look at the facey bits. Yeah, we're gonna get all up close and personal. So I named most of these things, but I don't remember what those names are called because they're on a sketch that I made. But this toppy bit is sort of like an upper lip, and it's also like ancestrally like a fin for smelling. So like these tentacles are for smelling, and they sort of like touch things like a star-nosed mole, or like a starfish's whatever starfish's little tube things are called, tube peats. Then there's this like wrinkly bit right here, this like lines, and those are used sort of like a remora's fin or like a leech's mouth, where it lets them like suction onto stuff. It's very muscular in this area so that they can suction. And then this bottom bit is also for suctioning on, so they can just sort of like suck their entire mouth onto a rock or a leaf or something and then stay there. And then these little tentacly bits, I forgot what these are called. They have an actual name. This is basically a tadpole's mouth. But then you have like their upper lip jaw, which has like teeth things on it, and the lower one, which just sort of like, this isn't a jaw like a fish would have. Well, I guess lamprey are fish. But like, it's basically just like a lip, like a little puckering little thing. And then inside there are 2 opposing things that sort of gnash together inward like an insect jaw. What is it called? It's a throat jaw. Things like eels have them. But yeah, they just kind of like rasp at things and like wriggle their heads side to side. It makes these teeth scrape stuff. But this one's like an herbivore, and then this other one that I'm drawing now is a carnivore. So it has like these, you can't see this at all because it's so blurry. This one's lower lip has like really long needle-like piercing pieces, so that it can just like absolutely shred apart very fragile tiny floaty things and slug-like devices. And so when it rasps, like, it uses the top lip just to hold it against its bottom lip, and then it just shakes. Yeah. Oh, we got a lot of people. Okay, now I need to scroll up. Spoken Claw M says silly worms, 3. Iconic comment. Waterwitch says, oh, I see some eyes. Yes, you do indeed. These piercing little stupid eyes. It looks, oh. You know what this looks like? This looks like a, I'm a Pokemon expert. Victory Bell. It looks like a Victory Bell. I think subconsciously I accidentally made Victory Bell's face. It's funny. Ben says, give them Latin names and common names. I sort of did that in the last episode. I might just continue that, because the pretend scientific names are really fun. I'm just sort of running out of names, because they're supposed to be groups. I don't know, a part of the original scope was to be like, Linnean taxonomy is kind of flawed, isn't it? These names don't really work when you're looking at it through time. But then I named them that anyways, and then I came up with the same problem. So we're gonna see how I cope with that later. Sea nuts are Crusader's favorite. Iconic. We love the sea nuts. They were designed just to look like oranges, like peeled oranges. I love them. Name of the phylum. For this thing, there isn't a name yet, but this is a finworm from the last episode. As are all the things with this mouthy thing. I probably should have named the finworms after the mouth, but I did not. Well, I guess I kind of did, because I called it the whole structure of fin, which doesn't really make sense, but I wanted to make it so, like, some swam backwards and some swam forwards, and, like, some could do both. I might still do that. I'm not sure. Remy says brutal. Thank you. OMG gorgeous. Thank you very much. We got a little face. Awesome drawing. Thank you very much. I always love to hear that. These drawings are kind of like suck the soul out of me, because I don't really like drawing realistically. These aren't the most realistic things in the world. I'm much more of a cartoonist. So these sorts of things are always kind of soul crushing, so it's always nice to hear positive comments from everybody. Just some guys suggest picking up a naming convention similar to the Pikmin franchise. That would be fun. I've seen some of Pikmin. I haven't played the new one, but I've seen that there's like a dex of organisms. I'll have to check out what you mean by that. That's a good thing to make a note of. Pikmin. Alpha says sensory pads. Hee skeleton? Any skeleton? That is an excellent question. This one has a skeleton in a way. It is not the kind of skeleton that many people would think of. It has an echinoderm-like skeleton where there's little tiny bones within its skin, and sort of its skin itself is the muscle around its organs. So unlike a fish, for example, that has bones around its nerve cord, that's what it's called, nerve cord. It has bones around its nerve cord and then bones projecting off of that, bones around the nerve cord. This one has bones in its skin. So like a starfish, it is capable of like contracting its entire body to be smaller and expanding it. So that's fun. Pharyngeal jaws. Pharyngeal jaws. That is what I meant with the two things on the inside of its mouth that clash together. That is the word for that. Thank you, Taco Mod. Oh, greatly appreciated. Spoken Claw says, who needs teeth when you have a muscular mouth? I love that out of context. It just sounds like somebody's gonna start smooching things to death. Or smooching food into a compressible material. That's a wonderful image. I hope everyone's proud of me for only using one tool. Or not tool, only using one brush this entire time. I will not stop. Oops, that's way too small. Always be sure to save every 10 seconds. That's the best way to go. I've had too many files explode on me to not remind everyone. This is looking pretty cool. There is a fixed number of tentacles in this group, because that herbivorous one, that green sort of one, is not in this more specific group between this one and the flat thing. But this one and the flat thing have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tentacles, and then this like two-pronged long one antenna, whereas that green spotty one is more basal in the structure of this, where it just has 9 of these non-specialized tentacles. Just some guys, sea nuts should be the first land animal analogs. Iconic. Ooh, actually, that just got me to think flying sea nuts. Okay, flying sea nuts, guys. There is a 3D model that I was trying to make of a sea nut, and my computer just crashes when I try and edit it now, which really sucks. So I'm going to have to draw it now. And it's really hard because it's 8-way symmetry. Why did I decide to make 8-way symmetry? Oof. But it's basically an open sea nut that sort of has 8 undulating fins. Like, this has 2 fins, like one on each side, these big undulating things. But the sea nut was really long. let me draw it for everybody quick. It looks like this, basically. And except it's like a lot longer than this. It's like serpentine, really stupid looking. It's such a nice 3D model, and now whenever I try and edit it, the computer crashes, so I can't finish it. And that is also what made me stop wanting to do 3D. Oof, so I don't know if I'll be making any more 3D. I really wanted to with plants, because plants are hard to draw. Or I should say plant-type devices. Ooh, we got some more stuff, Andrew says, I heard that cartilage can deal with higher pressure than bone. That is interesting. I am tempted to believe that, because you see cartilaginous fishes like chimera a lot further down than boatyfish. That's interesting. I'll have to research that when I start doing deep water stuff, because I'm not sure if the episode after this one will be deep water or if I'll include deep water in this episode. I'm not entirely sure yet. Taco says, I love how they have silly English names because Latin names are hard to remember. Exactly. And the worst part about making up Latin names is you'll like think, oh yeah, this is such a good name, and then you look it up and like some plant or a beetle already has that name, and you're like, gosh dang it. Oh, I think that's too many creases. You know what? Nobody cares. The land nut. OMG, the sky nut. And you see, the best part is that's exactly what I would name them. Ooh, the Water Witch says, I remember saving a big piece you were doing like less than a minute before the power went out because you felt it in your bones. Oh my gosh, that is so fortunate. Thank goodness you saved. That is always the worst. The only thing worse than that is saving and then you go to open it the next day and your computer corrupted the file. I have like nightmares about that happening to the videos that I make, these big ones. It's like, holy heck, the editing takes like longer than the art does. You have to make little noises, otherwise you can't get the lines right. How do octopi fly? You imagine sea nuts could fly the same way. So there is actually a squid that glides. And it looks weirdly similar to a flying fish, where these things are like that, and the squid body is downways, and then the face is like this, and then the tentacles like sprawl out to form like a wing type device. It looks really cool. But this is also just like a fact that they swim backwards most of the time. So it's just a really interesting way that a gliding creature that has a very different understanding of what forward means, my voice cracked, than what vertebrates do, as well as like arthropods, and that's interesting. Yonky asks, am I gleeful for glee? I'm gleeful for glee! I'm looking at Glee right now. Wait, no, I'm not. It's like face down in the pile of other wee-wees. They're in like a nest. I need to put it in the next time we order item label stuff, because they're just in a pile. They're in a shuffling hell pile, just dying from each other's compressed bodies. These are stuffed animals, by the way. Just some guy. Most Pikmin creates have fun name creatures that have fun names that they sound more sciencey that they actually are, like Gatling Groink, the Groink Queen, and Creeping Chrysanthemum, and the Hermit Crawmad, and the Cloaking Baronet. Ooh, you know what? Yeah, I've never actually played a Pikmin game, but those are very good names. That would be a fun way to redo the naming scheme, because I need to fix the naming scheme and I need to fix the cladogram, because the cladogram is just like illegible. Apparently I thought the wheel would be a good way to fix it, but a lot of people did not like the wheel. It was too hard to read. So I need to find out a way to fix the cladogram, which is going to be hard. So I don't want to remake a cladogram every single episode like the Bibluridian has to. Because you run out of space the further down you go, and the point of the wheel was that I didn't run out of space. But like even then, the file got so big that the Krita just hated opening it. Krita is not as optimized as Photoshop. Got some more comments. I like the Nautilus-like eyes. Thank you very much. If you didn't know how their eyes work, it's just a cup with light-sensitive cells with no membrane or anything. Like, you could just poke their light-sensing cells, like the inside of their eye. There's just water there. And then they have these fleshy bits so that they can, like, contract and open it wider without having a very complicated array of muscles. Like, it's just, like, one or two muscles that, like, pull it back and then it slacks forward to make the eye pin. And that's cool. Fractured Infinites, what's up the ceiling, I believe. I have to do that every time. I'm so sorry. I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing, Fractured Infinites? Crusader, oops, mixed up squid and octopi. That is a-okay. That is understandable. They are almost the same anyways. And then things like the vampire squid is, if I remember correctly, it is neither an octopus nor a squid, but it is closer to octopods. By the way, that is how I pronounce the plural of octopus. We're all just gonna deal with that. Yonki says, I'm gleeful for Glee! Everybody should be gleeful for Glee. Love Glee. I sort of like phase in and out which ones of the wee-wees are in the pocket of Boppaby. Everybody should look up item label if you don't know what that is. It is hilarious. It is not for children. Asterisks. They are all inappropriate jokes. But they look like Furbies, so it's funny. Can't believe the finworms will diversify into cephalopod analogs. Are you right? Sort of. So this is the most fun part. So when people think of fish and when people think of like squid and things, you think that they can float in the water column. But because of the way that I'm designing these things, they just sink like immediately. So they are not going to be able to stay in the water for very long. So instead of being things like squid or something, they're really going to just be locked to right above the floor. And unlike things like elasmobranchs, like sharks, where they have like a really fatty liver and it lets them float, because these do have calcium bones, by the way, calcium. Everybody loves how I pronounce dinosaur names correctly so that it sounds cursed and evil. Calcium for everybody. Calcium is pronounced calcium. I'm not going to say it that way in the video because it sounds too stupid, but that is technically the way that that's supposed to be pronounced. These are going to be too heavy. So they can swim, but then they just fall back down. And so instead of being things that like swim up and stuff, they are going to be exclusively locked to the ground. And a different group that I have yet to talk about is going to be the actual fish analogs. Like, this is not going to be the fish. Isn't that fun? That's a bit of a spoiler there, Candy Eggs. A bit of a spoiler. Visualizing cladograms is the bane of every Spec video. It really is. Somebody needs to just make a program that expands it for us. Are the eyes formed from skin or from the nervous system? That is an excellent question. They are formed from the skin in this organism, so it does not have a blind spot like we do, where our eyes connect to the brain. Isn't that fun? However, this group having eyes sort of makes it so that they can no longer divide the same way that they used to anymore. I'm going to talk about that later. There's a bit of confusion in the last couple episodes on how their splitting off from their tails worked and keeping their memories. Mostly because that's science fiction. I made that up. I should have probably explained that was more science fiction than realistic, but I'm going to explain that more in this next episode. They are too complex to do that now, so this butty tail cannot break off into a new fish-type device. If I mean in real life, the retinas are nerves and the eyeball is skin full of water. I love how bluntly that is put so much. Oh, it's just so evil. Just like knowing too much about how biology works is just cursed, and I love it. Ombra Track 132. You personally did enjoy the Clade Wheel, but you were watching the episodes on your tablet, so it was a big screen. Ah, you see, that might be the problem. I have a hilariously large computer. And yet Sparrowsy's computer is way bigger than mine. And so I think that must be a lot of the problem. I need to make it more clear and more or less circular. Because the wheel is fun, how it like rotates, but it's hard to understand. All wee-wees have a collective IQ of a honky puck smarter than you. The Gamsey honk face every time, lovely. That is wonderful. Elasmo Bronx. Elasmo Worm. I want everyone to know for Elasmo Bronx and Elasmo Worm, I did imagine Elasmo from Fossil Fighters. So that's a peek into the disturbing reality of my mind. Perfect eyes, yay. Sea nuts should be the fish of this planet because it would be funny. That is an excellent point. No, I'm not going to spoil it. Never mind. We're talking about finworms this episode. We're not going to spoil the other things. You probably got this question a billion times already, but how far along are you in the making of the video? Not very far. Unfortunately. As everyone can tell from the fact that this is taking so long for me to draw, drawing realistic is not very entertaining for me. And although I have a lot of ideas and some sketches, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. There's like 5 things that are done. 5 creatures. 2 of which are in 3D. And the rest of which are drawn like this. And as a little bit of a secret, I do definitely draw these with some ideas, and then I don't write down anything, really, until it's time to write the episode. So, like, all the lore and stuff is sort of made up after the fact, which is not the best way to do this, but it sure is the way that I have been doing it. So, if we take it to percentages, I've done, like, 2%. Or probably not even that, like 1%. The last episode took me over a year and a half to make. And the scope creep of wanting like every episode to be better than the last one and have more stuff is just, it's really hitting. But like, you know what? When it actually does come out, it will be fantastic. I'm going to try to prevent it from being longer than the last one. Last one was too long. Took forever. More cursed bio knowledge. Your teeth are analogs to fish scales. I forgot that, Taco Mod. You have brought that cursed thought back into my brain. That I just snicker like a little goblin creature at these funny facts. I love them so much. Oh, hello, Presby. Hello. Or let me say it like Pim from Thing. Hello, everybody. Hello. I've been wanting to buy the Smiling Friends DVD, but I've been waiting to see if they like come out with one that's season 1 and season 2. Because I have like a DVD for Gravity Falls, but it's like 3 episodes in season 1. I'm sort of scarred from that. Oh, this one, the anatomy's a little different on these 2 sides. Let's go ahead and fix that. Hello, CMBXP. Oh, we got another question. Will be anemone like sea nuts? That is an excellent question. So, originally the anemone-like things were going to be an entire group that no longer exists because they were too similar to regular sea cucumbers, because I did not know very much about sea cucumbers when I started this project. And I was very disappointed that there was just real-life sea cucumbers looked almost exactly like my Awesome Aliens thing. And that was a bit disheartening. Granted, obviously you can't be more creative than real life when it comes to Spec Evo, but I did sort of scrap them, so I do sort of need an anemone-like thing. An anemone-like Cenas. You know what? If I was to make an anemone-like thing, I would probably do a finworm like this one and just make it cursed like a barnacle. That's what I'd do to scar everyone's brains. Just make it glue the back of its head to a rock and have no body anymore. Just the mouth just sitting there. That'd be funny, actually. I should write that down. Ooh, Ben, if you remember correctly, hair is also analogous to fish scales. Oh, no. Or is it with reptiles? Oh, I don't know, but that is cursed information. I might have known that. I don't remember. I know much more about dinosaurs. Sorry. I know much more about dinosaurs than most things because I really like birds. We love birds here. The birds. Taco confirms reptile scales. Spoken claw, anemone nuts. I want everyone to know that every time the sea nuts evolve into any other group, I'm still going to call them nuts, even when they no longer resemble nuts. Ooh, wait, actually, there was a thing that I was going to do where it's like sea nuts turned into coral. I might have to bring that back. Because throughout Earth's history, there's a weird number of things that are basically coral, and then they keep getting replaced by one another. So that would be a funny one to do. Just coral, sea nut coral nuts. Oh my god, is that from SpongeBob? That just makes me want to name it Coral Nuts even more. Stay back, Timmy. You'll catch the stupid. Are there going to be sea lungs that swim somewhat like salps? That is an excellent question. That was an idea I was kicking around. I might add it. A lot of it comes down to whether or not I want to bother drawing it. Like the cover crawlers. I was originally going to have so many more cover crawlers, and I just did not feel like drawing them. So that's why there's one cover crawler and a weirdly large amount of information about them in the last episode. But we'll see. Because the sea lungs, I've sort of... Is that even what I called them? They're called something. I created them and I don't remember them. So sad. Alexa played Despacito. I might add more with those because I've sort of neglected those over the last couple episodes. This looks really gross. There's this like little crease in here. It's not quite the same as the other side, but we're gonna ignore that. Actually, if I deepen this part, it'll look more similar. Symmetry is the bane of my existence. Doing a realistic Spec Evo and ending up unknowingly with an actual animal is a pretty big W. That is true. The worst part about it is it's like every single cucumber that just looks like this. These tentacle things. I accidentally created this. I can't believe I thought I created this. Because they were originally going to be like really big ones that like buried themselves in the sand, and then they had like their little tentacles sticking out like an anemone. Except like instead of anemones, they're like, I grabbed the fish. They have like eyes on them. But it was too similar to a regular sea cucumber. Granted, I basically have a preapulid worm as one of the creatures in the last episode, so we will see. Sea nut coral equals walnuts. Okay, but I have to write that down, Crusader. Hold on, everybody give me a second. I need to write that down. Where's my notes for this? Where did it go? What's that saying, Joy? Lapis episode 4 notes. Oh, there's a bunch of words that I'm supposed to remember, like ossicle-based endoskeleton and keratotrachea. Oh, yes. So, coral, sea nuts, walnuts. Iconic. Oops, scrolled down a little too far. Sky nuts, lol. Yes, we love sky nuts. No, Six More Crusader, I swear I didn't see your message. Oh no, wait, I'm confused. My brain does not remember things longer than half a minute. I'm confused by that. Oh well, just gonna skip over that. I love the word combination of sea and nut. It sounds so stupid, but I love it. I'm pretty sure I stole it from SpongeBob. Like SpongeBob makes it a sea nut brittle. We love the sponge. We love the sponge. Except like, not to sound nostalgia baity, but I hate the way that SpongeBob is now. Even as a kid, when I grew up with most of the episodes around like season 5 and 5 to 6, I think. I don't even remember. I was born in 1999 because I'm old like that. I really like seasons 1 through 3. 2 is probably my favorite season. Convergent evolution is weird. Yes, it is. I was going to make a slideshow presentation on some of my favorite convergent evolution things. I decided not to, but I might bring it back because I just love CM Kosaman. Mehmet Kosaman. Everyone should watch him. I just got I pre-ordered a signed copy of All Tomorrows just earlier today. We love CM Kosaman. I love his videos where he just makes a slideshow. So I was tempted to kind of do that with some topics I like. I opted not to just because I wanted to cite all the images, but then I just got bored of citing images. Ain't that just the way? At Ben, you should spec into filter feeding so you might end up with descendants with hair for teeth in 5 million years. No. Whale shows up. Or I don't think, no, their pleats aren't actually hair. That's like projections of their palate or something. Chickadee Stevenson holds up hyenas and dogs and thylacines. Iconic moment. Epic Frog, what did you miss? You were with your grandma. That is wonderful, Epic Frog. So, we are drawing speculative evolution. We're hanging out. We're asking questions. We're answering questions. We're having a great time. This is not symmetrical at all. We're just gonna pretend that it's like at an angle, so it's all like carunculated and concave and convex or whatever. Sky nuts that fly with methane, sky poots. Iconic. They need to put the sponge out of its misery. Yes, they do. 1999 King. 1989 here. Iconic. All good spoken claw. That is wonderful. We all love each other here. Chickadee Stevenson says, I love your work, by the way. I've watched episode 3 dozens of times now. It's your favorite to throw on when you're drawing your VTM characters. If I might ask, what is VTM? Also, thank you very much. That is wonderful to hear. I've sort of gotten to a point with these episodes where I watch them so many times while editing that I sort of almost don't want to ever look at them again. So it's good to hear that people are tolerating seeing them more than once. I sort of get angry at it if I have to listen to it at this point. So that is wonderful. That is wonderful. It is always amazing to hear that people love things that you make. The walnut is merciful. Tentacles greater than jaws. This is true. Just wait till the tentacles become jaws. That's right. If anyone hasn't seen how lamprey close their mouths to swim around, like the two, by the way, they sort of look like lampreys if the lampreys were tadpoles. These two halves of the mouth can sort of like fold over each other, and I'm gonna have at least one of these groups do that to where like all these tentacles line up like a nautilus does when all their tentacles are retracted, and it's just gonna look stupid. It's just got a bunch of tentacles for a face, and then it opens up and looks scary. Fractured Infinities, you're easily on the most underrated YouTube ever. Wowza. Thank you very much. Spoken Claw, I have also watched episode 3 so many times. Thank you as well. Most of the time you fall asleep while watching. That is fantastic. Wouldn't it be funny if I just sort of screamed really loud? It's autism catnip for you. That is iconic. That is wonderful. One of my best friends, my Moira, if you're willing to humor if you're willing to humor Homestuck terminology, is also autistic, and we both looked through a bin of Technic pieces for Bionicle pieces at a Lego store for like 3 hours, and that was fun. They said that was one of the most fun thing that we did together while visiting, and that's hilarious to me. I almost entirely reconstructed Pohatu from random pieces because of our iconic teamwork in the Lego store. So that was a fun memory. Will I upload the stream VOD? If I understand what you mean correctly, this stream is going to be put up into as a video for the future. So if you ever want to rewatch it again, or if you want to catch any parts you missed, it is up there. There is a playlist named Streams under my thing. Every time I stream, well, almost every time I stream, there was a couple times where I played like The Isle, and then I just got angry at it because I hate The Isle, but I like dinosaurs. And those aren't up there anymore. But for ones like this, yes, of course, they are up there. At your leisure. Keith Ledger. I don't even know who that is. It's an actor, I think. CMBXP. I want these animals in my Spec Evo world on an ocean planet to live on large rock walls. Ooh, kind of looking like Dickinsonia, that have light-sensing organs that absorb light. They're animals, but plants. That is iconic. I'm liking that idea as a painting. That is going to look really cool. Now, there are a lot of ways that you can go about heterotrophic organisms that also gain energy from light. A way that a lot of soft-bodied things do, like there's some jellyfish that do it, and some like sea slug type devices where they sort of eat algae and then it just sort of migrates to inside of its skin. So it's like they're just holding it in their bodies, like their own little farm. Or you could even do it to where they like biologically have done that since forever, instead of like a relatively complex organism capturing them. Like plants, for example. Plants aren't actually like let me rephrase. Plants aren't like inherently photosynthetic. They originally were just heterotrophic things that absorbed cyanobacteria. I'm pretty sure it's cyanobacteria. I don't remember. That was a long time ago when I was researching for like the second episode. But it's neat. Like plants are just weirdly closely related to animals, considering, and they just took up those organisms so early in their evolution that that's like what we think of them being like. Ooh, do I accept fan art of potential critters on my world? I do indeed. If you want to send any fan art at all, if you have Instagram, I have an Instagram at Kandy_eggs, wherein Kandy is spelled wrong with a K. That is really the only social media that I have. If anyone wants to contact me or get their images, their little fan arts drawn, if you want it to be included in the next episode, I will include it, assuming you want it to be. Because these organisms that I draw are meant to represent like iconic creatures from different clades. Like for example, if I was to say like Panthera, then I would draw like a tiger, and then just imply that there were other tiger-type devices that also existed. So it's like I wouldn't draw a lion, I wouldn't draw a jaguar, yes. I wouldn't draw a jaguar, I would just like imply they exist. So there's a lot of freedom if you want to draw fan art and like put your own little spin on something, as long as it's not too divergent. I will just say that it's called the thing that the other group is, and it can be included easy peasy. A lot of the videos are just like the same image slowly zooming in and moving, so I definitely would appreciate if anyone wants to donate drawings to include. Your cat ate part of a KFC chicken, and most of it wasn't eaten, and it happened yesterday. Iconic cat moment. Cats really just, they look at something and go, I want that. And then they take it and then don't eat it. Oh, leaf sheeps. Those little nudibranch type devices. I don't remember if they are nudibranchs or if they're like sea something else. I was learning about the group that nudibranchs and other various things belong into, like sea angels and sea butterflies are closely related. They're cool also. They're a big inspiration for this project. Like the way sea angels look and sea butterflies, which by the way are both basically snails. They're like free swimming snails. They just look so cool and interesting, and it's just really a different view into what life could have been like. Like those could have been normal creatures, but in our reality they're like really intriguing, strange looking ones. I'm getting so far in this drawing. Oh well, we're having great discussion. Oh gosh, I scrolled too far. Kleptoplasty is what the leaf sheep do. Kleptoplasty, stealing pieces. Oh yes, so they steal bits from whatever they eat. That makes sense. Tucko says, yay, stream uploads for Europeans up past their bedtime. Oh, gee, Europeans up right now. Whoa. I have a friend, Pedro, who lives in Portugal. It's so difficult for us to find time to do stuff together because of the time difference. So it's iconic that you're here. It was fun being here. Keep up the good work, doing something really cool and interesting. I'm excited to see where it goes. Thank you very much. Good night, Taco Mod. Get your sleep, friendo. Jelly French fries. That's someone new, I believe. Can't underestimate how excited you are for the next part. Thank you very much. That is amazing to hear. You're only on Tumblr. I do also have a Tumblr, but unlike my other social media, that one is private. And also I barely know how to use Tumblr. I really only use it to talk to like a couple of my friends because Homestuck. I'm one of those. Lol. So, if you do happen to make an Instagram, that would be iconic. Otherwise, I don't actually know if YouTube can see what email it is, but I'm tempted to not just say what my email is. So, if you want to draw a fan art, you are more than welcome to. I don't know how it could get to me to see, but if you feel like drawing it, it is always fun to draw. It can really help art block to just find something interesting for the moment and then go ahead and draw it. Jelly French fries. I can't say I've seen many Spec Evo projects go so in-depth in the early stages of life like I have. Thank you very much. That was one of the big things I really wanted to do with this project, as I watched a bunch of other Spec Evo projects and I thought, there are certain trends that I don't appreciate, like people skipping over that early bit. And the funny thing is that my friend, Lux, they went, I have the same thing with your project and other projects, because we both watched Midleridian's Alien Biospheres together. And they were like, I want to make my own one now, where I really go into the chemistry. And I'm like, that would be a fantastic idea, because I hate chemistry. Just some guy, your cat can open doors. That is iconic. That must be fun to deal with. Fractured Infinites, you're drunk. What a great stream. Thank you, Kandy. You're such a good artist. Thank you very much. Now, if you are indeed inebriated, be sure that you can get home safely if you are not home. And if you are home currently right now, you keep on keeping on, friendo. Ooh, we got another seemingly new person. I'm surprised people still use Tumblr these days. Tumblr will never die. I think there was a thing where Tumblr was gonna sell itself to some other thing, and then everyone rebelled and made the site too inappropriate to be worth buying. So Tumblr is just going to be a safe haven on the internet till the end of time. Like Instagram is kind of going down the potty right now. There's a whole thing, including on mine, because I still don't have the option to change it, but Instagram now feeds every image you post onto it into their AI. So all my images are just fed into AI now. So that's fun. I hate that so much. CMBXP. It looks like a mermaid, an eldritch monster, and a baby. That's surprisingly accurate. Oh, you know what's a good movie that reminded me of eldritch horror? Flatland. Everybody should watch Flatland. It's still free up on YouTube. It is one of my favorite movies. I've never seen a film encapsulate existential horror so perfectly. The side's looking a little too dark now. I'll just add some shading on here and finish up this part. Let's get this. Yeah. Add some depth in here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I got more stuff to read. Spoken Claw, you are European and seem to be awake. Iconic. Iconic. Be sure not to stay up too late. I've done that before. I am so bad at taking naps. I got like 5 hours of sleep the other day, and then I took a nap for 2 hours, and then it felt like for the rest of the day that I only got 2 hours of sleep. So I am not the biggest fan of not getting enough sleep. Epic Frog, when do you think that animals will eventually start going onto land? I am going to not let mine go onto land for so long. I just think it's funny. Because it's like... a lot of people sort of view speculative evolution like, let's get to the exciting part where they're on land. But I like just dwelling in the water, partly because that's a part that people don't pay enough attention to, in my opinion, but also because they don't really have a reason to go on land yet. Like, there's nothing there and won't be for a really long time. It'll just be like rock and dirt. It's still the right color. Yes, it is. So I'm just going to have mine be on land or in the water for a really long time. I'm not sure when I'm going to have things commit to living on land, but it will happen eventually. Maybe in episode 5. I'm not sure. Jelly French Fries, well, you do love Bibluridian Spec Evo series. You do find a lot of their creatures more or less look the same, just different colors and sizes. Yes, indeed. That is one of the bigger problems I had with it. Right in the very end, I'm pretty sure it's not over actually, but right in the very end, they really started to change up the limbs and the ways that they connect into the body into some really interesting designs. But I think it's partly just because it was 3D for so long, and he very reasonably just recycled the assets a lot. But that is one of the things that I definitely wanted to do differently. Chickadee Stevenson, you're Canadian. Wonderful. My friend has a lot of family in Canada, and it's nearly dinner time. You're not hungry, though. Gotta go take something for that lack of hunger. Oh, wonderful. Something Canadian. I learned from my friend the other day that Canadian bacon is not called that in Canada, and that has destroyed my brain. I'm not even sure if... I don't remember what they were saying about it, but I just said, hey, you know what's good? Pizza with Canadian bacon. And they were like, they just started mocking me. An iconic manner. Spoken Cloud, the weather has decided for you that you're not going to sleep much tonight, as well as have a nice time watching an amazing creator. Thank you very much. I will go ahead and try to be a little more ASMR-y. I used to have an ASMR channel, but we're not going to bring that up. Fellow syrup person, we got double Canada hours today. Also, should we post bad art on Insta to poison the AI? Ooh, that is an interesting idea. I do have a Kara account. I've used it like twice. But I do have Kara, which is sort of like the anti-AI Instagram. Like, it purposely looks almost exactly like Instagram. That is a fun idea. Like, AI is already sort of going down the toilet ever since it started referencing other AI images, because that's all that's on Google right now. I hate AI so much. Andrew, am I gonna do YouTube members or something else? That's an excellent question. I don't really know how YouTube membership works. I am tempted. For right now, at least, I just have the ads on pretty much everything, other than, unfortunately, the newest Aliens video does not have ads turned on, because one of the music pieces that is Creative Commons, and by the law of how Creative Commons works, is that if something has ever been Creative Commons, it must remain so forever. A different company bought that company, and now they make people pay for it, which is illegal. But it means that I don't have ads on that video, which sucks, because that is my second most viewed video now. The first viewed is actually a really shitty Roblox episode. But anyways, I probably wouldn't have membership or anything until I focus on this project and my comic as being like the only things on this YouTube. But for now, it really just has like whatever I feel like making on it. But maybe someday. TBF, Bibluridian uses light wave to animate, which sucks severely, so it makes sense he recycles assets. F in the chat, I've never... Oh, actually, I have heard of light wave. Pea meal is peak. Pea meal? Pea meal? I've never heard of pea meal. I've had oatmeal and, like, some other meals. I like to make bread. That's unrelated. But I like making bread. It's made out of some sort of meal-type device. Flour. Just some guy has been looking at my Instagram, and you gotta say, please give to me your sage wisdom on how you draw realistic animals. So, my biggest advice for drawing animals is understanding their shapes, like 3D dimensional shapes, and understanding how their bodies move. That's really the two key things, and especially with dinosaurs, like birds and stuff. I'm just going to draw real quick. So the way that birds balance is on their knee. So if you have this really bad drawing, tail. This looks really bad. Okay, let's undo that. So basically, birds balance their weight above their knee, and other dinosaurs balance their weight above their hip, like in between their hip and their knee. And once you learn like the rules for that for different groups of animals, you can grasp how to pose them so that they look natural, even if you aren't using a direct reference. Like, always use references. Try to avoid just copying images if you can. Unless it's your image, in which case, do what you will. But breaking things down into geometric shapes, like a lot of dinosaurs have very, like, boxy heads. And so you can just sort of break down the shapes like this. And then, like, here's a sphere or something. And then a tube. And so you can kind of just, like, break things down into these shapes. And now that you know these shapes, you can draw it from the front. Whoa! That looks really bad. So that is my biggest thing. Learn how the anatomy works. Learn how the shapes work. And learn how the rules of the way that the animal stands work, and use loads of references. Like, amalgamate those references in your brain. Also, thank you, some guy. I don't remember if I said that. Jelly French fries. Which one of my creatures would you personally want to keep in an aquarium? So I am really bad at keeping aquariums. It's really confusing for me. I haven't done it since I was a child. As is the case with many children with pets. That did not go well. And it makes me really want to hesitate. But I have been interested in keeping an aquarium with freshwater insects, and I was also tempted to start some with shrimp because my friend knows a lot about aquaria. If I had to keep one of my creatures, because I wouldn't be able to keep like the sea nuts, because they'd need like jellyfish type aquaria where they can't hit the corner and get stuck there. So I would say, I mean, a finworm would be really hard. It would probably be... Oh, well, cover crawlers are so ugly looking. I don't know. Maybe one of these new finworms. Like, I really like this thing. I like it. It looks like a boxfish and also like a flounder. It is neat looking. And I imagine that these things are like 4 inches long. It's just cute looking. I like this thing. Yeah, I think this one. You just feed it like bloodworms. And then it just like squanches over and puts its little sucky mouth. By the way, this whole thing is like prehensile, like a pig's nose. It's gonna be in the animations in like the background of the next episode, but I just want everyone to know that this doesn't have a skull. It's just all squishy, except like this prong up on the forehead. That's part of its like back. Yeah. All right, let's bring this back. Yes, that's perfect. Still on the same layer. Fantastic. Da-da-da. How are we doing on here? This is okay. Perhaps not the best. The shading looks really poor on the tentacles. I think some of them need to look like they're like passing over the other ones. Let's see how that looks. That looks even worse somehow. Presby is back. Isopod. Iconic. We love isopods. Ooh, I forgot to do this little divot here. Don't really know what this divot means, but you know what? We make up the details because this creature doesn't exist. Let's add a little bit of shading in this like gross little area. Oh yeah, we just gotta scribble that on. Now let's add like a gross little crease. Oh yeah. Pea meal is Canadian bacon. Why is it called pea meal? That's interesting. I probably had this exact conversation with my friend because I just don't remember things. I am not very smart, believe it or not. All of my brain is consumed with Pokemon and Homestuck. I just love Homestuck. Homestuck is the greatest piece of media ever written. Oh, I didn't like that. Yeah, let's keep it like that. I also have an MSPFA for Homestuck if anyone likes Homestuck. Your favorite creature has to be that huge flying saucer, the Lepiscus in episode 3. Hope it won't go extinct. So, a little bit of a spoiler. Lepiscus and its group, which I just named it the genus Lepiscus, which is part of the reason why, is because I did plan on making it go extinct, but then I had a good idea. So its group, the mushroom sea nuts, will no longer go extinct, but like Lepiscus itself is. As one would expect, but... So Lepiscus's very close relatives will continue on. Lepisces. Lepisci. It just is named pea meal. Iconic. Ooh, Fulcarius. We got a Therizinosaur up in here. I love the face and the simple Nautilus eyes. I think it's the eyes. It is the eyes. Thank you for noticing. I did point out earlier that I think I subconsciously made this look like the Pokemon Victory Bell. Victory Bell. My voice cracked again. Iconic. Oof, I have not made very much progress on this. Each one of these drawings takes two days, normally 2-3 days, assuming I like work on it for multiple hours. I would normally be working on this faster, but the conversation is just so tantalizing. Let's go ahead and add some depth on the side of this like lippy thingy. Make it look like real indented, like this whole thing is like a sticky outy bit. I sound like Bluey characters. A sticky outy bit. It's not even close. I like Bluey. Bluey is like new SpongeBob. It's not as adult, not as clever, but it's similar. I swear Tumblr only exists just so Homestuck fans can linger on. There are 2 guarantees on the internet. 3 guarantees, but I'm not going to talk about that one because that one's too inappropriate. And that being that Homestuck and Bionicle will never die. That is the 2 givens on the internet. Homestuck, Bionicle will never die. They live forever, as they should. Flirts, thank you very much. A Vaporeon profile picture and a nice little blue heart. We love Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon is Orbeetle. Isn't that fun? I'm not normally one to like change what my favorite Pokemon is. It was Crocodile basically since I was a kid. But then Orbeetle, I just like it. It's neat. It's an interesting twist on a parasitoid wasp, which if anyone didn't know, Orbeetle is a parasitoid wasp. That's why it abruptly stops looking like a ladybird beetle. It's because the wasp is coming out of the ladybird, and its head is the ladybird. It's cool. I love it. darn right, you've seen Bionicle die twice in your life. Love bonkles. Oh my gosh. My favorite bonkle is Pohatu. Actually, my favorite bonkle is Karapar. But, like, as a character, I like Pohatu. Let me... This part's a little too smooth. I think that's my issue right now. Let's add a nice little crease in there to give it some more depth. Oh yeah, that looks very rubbery and gross. Love that. I just want this to look like so disturbingly muscular because it uses these tentacles to like grapple its prey. And its tentacles are going to have like little hooks on them. They're just not drawn on yet. So I need these to look like really, really muscular. But the fact that it doesn't have like bones like we do, it just has bones in its skin, means that its skin can like kink around and look all gross like that. I love it. You'd say that trolling will also always exist online. Actually, that's true. There's 4 rules to the internet now. Bionicle made you care about dense lore and fiction. Warhammer 40k, I've heard good things about that. And Xenogears are your jam. Is Xenogears... that's like Xenogears Chronicles, I think, is a game. If I remember my internet lore. But I love lore as a concept, and Bonkle was definitely what introduced me to it. It's looking pretty nice. Oh yeah, that's some nice depth in there into the the butt of the face. We love that. I love this brush. It's called Quick Shade. It's meant to look like pencil. It's like if you got like a bunch of pencils all together. If you do it harder, it like looks more like pencil. It's sort of like a charcoal, but I love it because you can like smear it. It's very, very intuitive because I normally do use pencil in person. Xenogears is the progenitor to Xenoblade. Okay, that makes sense. I know very little about that series, but I've seen like some pretty interesting stills from older games, and it looks very interesting. It's not my cup of tea. Granted, I play like Minecraft and Pokemon, so like that's the base we're working with. Warhammer lore is broken in a good way. That's interesting. I don't think I've seen anything from Warhammer, but I have heard of it. Let's extend. I'm a lore word that rhymes with lore. Iconic. I get you. That was wonderful. Ooh, I am getting a little bit tired. I might be ending the stream pretty soon. I don't remember when I started. That's fine. I think I want to at least get this, like, middly bit done. Like, I don't have the teeth on the tentacles or spikes or whatever they want, what would be called. But I think I want, like, this lip and, like, the base of the lower lip to be done before I head out. Oh, that's not very symmetrical. Let's go ahead and try and symmetrize that. No Man's Sky just added fishing. Now, I've heard of No Man's Sky. I've heard some very bad things about it, but also I've heard it's apparently very playable right now. It's another game that I like. I like the idea of, and I just wouldn't play. Also, I just realized that I said I just play Minecraft and Pokemon, even though, like, dinosaur games are one of the videos TM on my thing. I play dinosaur games too, but I mostly just like... This is not symmetrical. I mostly just like Minecraft and Pokemon. Thoughts on Darwin 4? Ooh, you mean the book Expedition that I have right next to me right now? I love that book, and I love the movie. I think I love the book more, though. I don't know if I should spoil parts of the book, but like parts of the book are just so fascinating to me. Okay, you know what? Should we talk about spoilers for the book that Darwin 4 was based on, Expedition by Wayne Barlowe? If you do not want to hear spoilers, go ahead and spam no, like repeatedly, just real fast. And then I'll wait like a minute because I think there's a minute or two in between the text showing up and the stream starting. Oh, YouTube says I started an hour ago. Thank you very much. Darwin 4. Well, some of the science might be absurd. The designs are some of the most alien and cool that you've ever seen. That is true. That is true. Xeno series lore is real dense. Xeno Saga is neat, though not your cup of tea personally. The Gnosis are cool. Immaterial aliens that make things into salt. Interesting. This is not a very symmetrical drawing. I'm struggling a little bit with this. I think I need to. Oops. I think I need to bow it out more. Yeah, I think that was the issue I was running into. Curious Archives already spoiled it. Fellow Curious Archives enjoyer over here. I don't know if my YouTube subscriptions are public or not. I kind of hope they're not. That's weird, but I am subscribed to them. CMBXP, which is how I pronounce that now, loves Pokemon, but the only game you've beaten is Legends Arceus. Got your Pokemon to level 45 before Cleavor. You're getting all Pokemon you could get before each boss. Iconic. I would definitely suggest playing some of the older Pokemon games, not to sound nostalgia baity. Like, in fact, my first Pokemon game was Diamond and Pearl. But I think that Gen 3 is probably the best generation. You can pretty easily find ROMs. I'm not supposed to recommend them, so I can't, legally. But if you find yourself with a copy of any Gen 3 Pokemon game, I do think that it is definitely worth the time. Not necessarily worth the time getting a real one, but you can buy a fake one for like $10. If you have a DS Lite, it can go in. It is a Game Boy Color game, but the DS Lite has a cartridge thing for that. What do I think of Slugterra? That sounds weirdly familiar. I don't know what it is, though. Ooh, just some guy says Gen 5 is the best story. Ooh, I'm kind of a big fan of Gen 7's story, but Gen 5 is much more cohesive, for being honest. I love Gen 5. Gen 5 definitely has my favorite Pokemon designs. I love the way the game is. My only big complaint with Gen 5 is it's so hard to get berries because they wanted you to play a stupid browser game. So it's like the only Pokemon game where you can't get more berries. It just makes me sad. CMBXP says, you may play Let's Go Pikachu. I have never played that one. To my understanding, it is very entertaining if you like shiny hunting. However, I definitely can't recommend Fire Red and Leaf Green enough. Again, there's no nostalgia in that. I just love the way that those games look, love the way that they play. As much as I love Gen 4, it can be frustrating how slow the game is. The games are. Gen 5 is the perfect speed, though. Like, definitely Gen 5 is a fantastic one to play. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, they don't have very many Pokemon. I can't say much of the game, though, because I haven't played it before. Legends Arceus is the best game, in your opinion. Ooh. I did enjoy Legends Arceus. I'm hoping that the new Legends game is going to be even better. I have a little bit of a vendetta with Legends Arceus, even though I did end up playing it and did have a lot of fun with it. That being that, like, I miss abilities. Abilities are just so important to me with the identity of Pokemon. That it's like Gastrodon sitting there without having Storm Drain just makes me sad. So if they add back abilities and add back like the regular battle system, the Legend series will be peak Pokemon. Slugterra is a Canadian cartoon where people use mollusks as... Hold on. Slugterra is a Canadian cartoon. Okay, is this one of like the early 2000s cartoons where they were all made in Canada for some reason? Canadian animation was like peak in the 2010s. My siblings and I loved Total Drama and Totally Spies. My sister especially loved Totally Spies. There's other things. There's like 16. We love that too. They were, well, 16 was the only one where they were like actually teenagers. The other ones, I swear, they were supposed to be adults, and then they were just like, nah, they're teenagers now. Just pretend they're teenagers, though. I'm pretty sure, like, Totally Spies is like really sus, though. I haven't looked too much back at it. Flirt says you like Soul Silver and Heart Gold. Iconic. I love those ones so much. They're definitely very, very, very good games. I love the way that they look. Although I like the way Gen 3 looks more. Like, Soul Silver and Heart Gold, you just can't really get too much better for, like, collecting Pokemon. Like, that is the collect-a-thon game, in my opinion. Chickadee Stevenson, 16 for the win. Americans got the censored versions. Oh, yeah, that's true. It's so weird. Like, there's so much cursed things on American television, especially for children. Why can't we just get the version of Total Drama where they say damn or whatever they say? I don't remember what it was. It was something. It was something where they redubbed it and it just sounds really stupid. I might be mixing it up with something else, but I'm pretty sure that's what I'm thinking of. Code Lyoko. I have heard good things about that. I have never seen it. Just some guy plays Pokemon like a 5-year-old and doesn't use any stat boosting moves. Evil. I play Pokemon using like really bad Pokemon. Bug is my favorite type, and a lot of my favorite Pokemon are very bad. So like when I replayed Heart Gold and Soul Silver to do my living decks, of which I ended up not using many Pokemon from that because I ended up getting the digital copies of Gold and Silver and had a lot of fun with those. But anyways, oh yeah, I used Burmy as one of my Pokemon throughout the playthrough, and I didn't realize that Burmy only had Tackle and Protect. or wait, no, it only had Bide and Protect, didn't it? No, I don't remember. I also used a Kricketot, and I know it has Bide. It was something like that. It was just like so difficult to get far enough in the game for them to learn attacks. It was so fun. I love being at a complete disadvantage in Pokemon. It's hilarious to me. Not much of a fan of Pokemon games, but you love Digimon World on PS1. I didn't know Digimon had games other than Tamagotchi, which to my understanding Digimon is sort of like a not necessarily a successor, but like a spin-off of Tamagotchi. I'm pretty sure that was the case, at least. This lip is looking a little odd. Tamagotchi, ita, ine. Tamagotchi has an anime. I watched like 3 episodes. Pardon, I watched like 3 episodes of it. It was iconic. Bull testicles was replaced with meatballs. Oh yeah! Oh gosh. Didn't they still show the bull? Because like I'm having like a memory where I remember it being bull testicles, but I think it's just because they showed the clip of the bull like grabbing its crotch, and Kid Me was just like, I see what they're doing. It must have been right, because I know everyone's like, but I saw the uncensored version, but like that must be the reason that I'm thinking of that. CMBXB, I have an announcement. If you don't have a Rapidash and a Sinnoh starter on your team in Legends Arceus, you are not a real one. Gasp! Meanwhile, my Legends Arceus team being super cursed. What did I even use? I used Samurott. Hisui Samurott. I switched most of my Pokemon just because I was trying to find out what was the best way to catch things. Because normally I have a Pokemon that's devoted to catching things, because I like to collect the Pokemon. But in Legends Arceus, because of the abilities aren't there, and a lot of moves aren't there either, it really switched up what I had to do, so I didn't really have a catching Pokemon, and I just kept switching stuff. I did use every one of the new Pokemon at some point in my team, though, as one does. Flirt says, I love how you say Tamagotchi. That is because I took 2 years of Japanese in high school. Let me say something. Konbanwa, watashi no namae wa Seiichi desu yo. My voice cracked again. Yeah. ちょっとで日本語をなしますよ。でも私の文法を整えるや。I say yo all the time. That means like you should know. Because I speak so casually that it leaks into a different language. Prairie oysters. What? the cons- the contestants have to eat mystery meatballs. Oh yeah, Chris McLean, which by the way I didn't know his name was Chris McLean. I thought it was McLean until I saw the what are they called, subtitles on whatever streaming thing it was on a couple of years ago. Welcome, campers! Today we're going to be eating mystery meatballs. He's the same voice actor as Jude from 16. Turned out to be Bullbits. Indeed. Just some guy, when you were younger, I didn't know you could buy Pokeballs, so I just thought you could get 6 Pokeballs for the entire game. Oh no. That was like, when I started playing Pokemon, I played with Gen 4. And Gen 4 gives you like the least instruction of any Pokemon game, so I was just completely lost the entire time. I originally played it because Blockbuster. I decided to rent Pokemon Diamond from Blockbuster. Luckily, nobody had a save still on there. Otherwise, I would have just played on their save. But I picked Turtwig. I named it Twiggy because I'm creative. I was a creative child. And then I got to the city name. Oh, what is it called? Jubilife City? It's like whatever the first city is. And then there were characters like for the online thing. They were like, you need a gym badge to get here. And my dumb child brain was like, okay, well, that's where I'm supposed to go. What's a gym? The game just didn't tell me what a Pokemon gym was. It's iconic. There's many Digimon games. Cyber Sleuth is basically Persona, but with Digimon. That's interesting. I don't know what my favorite Digimon is. I have vague recollection of Digimon. I like Tamagotchi better. Granted, like, I just like the stupid creatures in Tamagotchi. It's not really so much of a game as it is like a press this button every once in a while simulator and then be sad when it dies. I'm glad I didn't have one as a kid. I wanted one so bad though. Your team is Dissidia, or should I say it like Wolf Dicky Dewey, Overquill, best name of a Pokemon. Agreed, it is definitely up there. Zoroark after Volo, and Polion after Volo. Shiny Rapidash and Gudra. That is an iconic team. I definitely had a Dusknoir. I had Dusknoir, Samurott. I have pictures of it, but I think Dusknoir and Samurott were really the only ones that stayed on my team the whole time. I don't even really like Dusknoir. I just never used it before, and I was like, this is fun. I made myself not use Wormadam again, because I just love Burmy and Wormadam so much that I just always end up using the same Pokemon if I don't make myself play with something else. I didn't dislike using Dusknoir, but it's definitely not one of my most favorite things. It's one of the few Pokemon that I like the pre-evolved form more. I don't know why. Oh, you had an OG Furby as a kid. Furbies were my first nightmare. No cap. I love Furbies. Your poor parents ended up leaving it in a closet, and it scared the crap out of your mother when she opened it and think woke up. Oh, or whatever Furby noises make. I love Furbies so much. So evil. I never had a real one, but I had like the plastic McDonald's ones. There's a Furby advertisement where the Furbies are like launching out of the sky directly at people and they like stop them in a moment in time because it's weirdly edited, and it caused like one of the first nightmares I can remember as a kid, or I was at school and then like Furbies just kept emerging from the sewer system, and then I had to hide them, and they were like threatening me ominously, like if somebody found them something bad would happen to me and not the Furbies, like the Furbies were holding me hostage. Anyways, I love Furbies. OG Tamagotchi is peak. You love Digimon. It's silly and you love that iconic. Tinkaton is your favorite non-legendary. That is a great pick. My sister is really into Pokemon Go, but she's never really played the actual Pokemon games. So she saw Tinkaton for like the first time the other day and she really likes it too. I'm not too sure on the shading here. I think I'm gonna head out pretty soon. This is getting to the point where I'm scared to ruin it since I'm not really in the mood to draw anymore. Well, that looks kind of nice though. I like this little wrinkly bit we have formed. That's wonderful. Let's add another crease here. Ooh, didn't like that. Yeah. Read way too much detail in this part that nobody's going to be able to see, but I can see it. Let's make it further back a little bit. That's looking pretty nice. Let's give this whole thing a little wash of shade and then see how it looks from further away. That is pretty iconic. Let's add some teeth on that and then do the shading on the inside of the mouth, and then I think I might be done for today. It does violence and steals. Yes, it does. I love the implication, or it's less of an implication, more just it tells you. The only reason they don't use Corviknight to fly around is because that wee pink bastard is going around and hitting the metal birds with rocks, and then they die. I just love... Gen 7 did this especially. Gen 7's one of my favorites. I've played Gen 7 the most other than Gen 5. Gen 5 I played the most, Gen 7 the second most. Gen 5 is also the only gen I've never found a shiny in. Other than 3, but my Gen 3 games aren't real. I got scammed. Unfortunate. Dang, you guys have dreams? Lucky. That's like the meme from, oh, what's that movie? We're the Millers. The We're the Millers meme, just, you guys get this? That made no sense to anybody who doesn't know what that movie is, but if you've seen the movie and the meme, you get the image that went in my brain. Tiny pink menace, affections. I wonder what Tinkaton's gonna sound like in the anime, because I know the anime's ruined some of the Pokemon for me. Not really, but like, Behemoth's noise in the anime is so evil. It's like, what's Behem gonna sound like? You think it's gonna make like little click noises or like little flashy sounds. No, it goes, Behem! I am an alien. Imagine trying to fly around in a taxi and rocks fly past you at 10 million miles an hour. So instead they use Squawkabilly. I don't like Squawkabilly. I get that it's a Quaker parrot, and I get that it's like just a little parrot, but like, when are we gonna get a budgie Pokemon? Like, the parrot representation in Pokemon is so weird. Like, there's a green cheek conure and a Quaker parrot. When are we gonna get like an actual like big parrot? You'd think that would be the obvious conclusion, but we've just gotten 2 small parrots that don't evolve, and it's kind of a weird trend. Almost 3 parrots, because like Swablu is basically a parrot, but it stops being a parrot. It's just odd. I just want like a cockatoo or a macaw Pokemon. That would be a fantastic starter. Okay. This mouth is looking... Okay, let's darken that up a little bit more. Scroll out. That's pretty good. I'm gonna go for a little erase. Nah, I didn't like that. Liven up these little bits. Very nice and gross, this little puckering little mouthy thing. Quaker parrots are invasive in Spain. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, that makes more sense on why they're, like, angry, too. That actually checks out. What do we all think the next Pokemon region's gonna be based on? I've been waiting for one to be, like, the Midwestern United States, where I'm from, for so long. Like, we had the Ore region. That doesn't count. That's not a real game. I'm sure when we get the Australia region, we'll get budgie Pokemon. I dearly hope so. I love budgies. They are weirdly popular pets in Japan for not being a Pokemon right now. Granted, pet care in Japan is not always the best. I don't know if y'all have been on pet social media, but like, it's a big thing to keep animals in really tiny things because it's cute, I guess, which is unfortunate for animals, but c'est la vie. America's gotten really good with pet care recently. It is very impressive. I'm just gonna sort of scribble them out then. Then we can sort of add on the chompers. For this one, I don't think the carnivorous ones are gonna have pharyngeal jaws. I think only the herbivorous one is gonna have that as like a derived trait. That looks pretty nice. Don't you want to just like put your hand on that? It's so gross looking. It looks sweaty. This looks like a little sad hammerhead shark. Oh, this area is a bit too pallid. Let's darken that up. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah. You think the next generation's gonna be Germany? Ooh. That could be interesting. I don't know what the terrain in Germany looks like, but I know France looked really pretty, and that was definitely a big part of the inspiration was the meadows in France for Kalos. And with the Kalos game coming out, that could be fun. We don't technically have confirmation on which region they were at war with, and when the great big machine, whatever AZ's thing is. Oh, that's probably why it's called Pokemon Legend of the Zaza. You actually predicted Galar via the name of one of the NPCs you meet in Ultra Sun and Moon. Her name was Perdita, and since that's the name of the mum Dalmatian in 101 Dalmatians, I guess for Germany is based on the art teacher. Oh yeah, that guy. I don't like that character. I have like a personal vendetta with how he teaches art in that game that made me really mad. That's just me though. That's just me. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be the most fun class, because I was hoping for like a little shitty minigame where you just get to draw pixel art or something, and that's not what it was. He just quizzes you on things he didn't tell you. It was too real for one of those art teachers that's like, this is the correct way to make art. Think of Germany, you think of the 1,000-year blood war arc in Bleach. I have not seen that. But he's so cute with his husband. Well, now I gotta know. Are you talking about Norman? Is that his? No, that's not his name. That's the Gen 3 dad's name. What's Star After Man? What is Star After Man's name? Business guy, normal type Jim. Larry. You talking about Larry? I got there in the end. You know what? And that's impressive enough. Good job, Candy Eggs. the grotesque looking creation we got going on here. Brassius? Okay, I don't think I've seen that ship before. Everyone here should read Homestuck so that you can understand when I talk about ships with various made-up words. Homestuck has a very interesting interpretation of romantic and platonic relationships that's broken down into a grid system, and it is unironically really helped me understand both romantic and platonic relations, and in ways to describe them in words that aren't in English but do exist in some other languages. It's really cool. You've seen them interact and there's no heterosexual explanation. I don't remember them interacting. Is that like in the post game with the DLC where you can get multiple people into your Blueberry Academy thing? I didn't really do much with that. I really just shiny hunt in the post game. It's puckering its lips. Yeah, everybody needs to give this a nice little smooch before I draw on all the teeth. In fact, let me start drawing on some teeth here. Oh yeah, look at those Look at those pearly whites. This looks scary. This looks like if you put your finger in it, you would stop having a finger pretty quick. And the only reason I'm putting this much detail into the mouths is because I can zoom in on them and show them how they're different in the other organisms. Because like if you zoom out, it's not as detailed elsewhere. Or at least it won't be. This mouth is the most important part. The focal point, if you will, is this mouth down to the eyes and the siphons, and then the rest is just sort of very smooth. Now, it's in the Academy stuff, the main game. I must have just skipped too much of it. Like, I did it all. I just didn't read it, or I didn't retain it, I guess. This looks sort of like an Anomalocaris mouth. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about Expedition. I love Expedition. I didn't see anybody spam no in the chat, so I'm about to spoil some things from Expedition. Are we all okay with that? The stream's going to be ending in a couple minutes, but I do want to talk about that if there's no one protesting for talking about spoilers for Expedition. Okay, I'm going to start talking about spoilers for Expedition. You best click off of this. You best click off the stream if you don't want to hear that. Okay, so one of my favorite parts about Expedition is just the idea that a deep space probe just takes pictures of this planet, which might have life on it, judging by its atmosphere. And then there is a creature so large that it shows up in the freaking picture as, like, clearly this is a creature. Now, the creatures in the book are far too large to make any sort of biological sense. But just that idea, especially if you think of it more realistically and less of it like a nice painting as was displayed in the book, just imagine, like, you take this picture, this alien world, it's like just to scope out what the surface is looking like, whether it's got water or not, whether it's got whatever, what have you, and you just see, like, shadows from above. Like, you know how there's like pictures of like camels and other big animals that are taken from above, like in a helicopter, and you see their shadow just like go cascade all the way across the horizon, and you see like the silhouette of the creature on their shadow? Imagine that, but with like alien creatures. Like, you just see clearly in this image there are what looks to be motile creatures on the land. That is so fascinating. And also the fact that there are intelligent aliens in the book, not in the animation. Intelligent creatures that are so much more intelligent inherently than humans are, that they take humans along as if we're dogs. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna take the fun little critters here, and then they're gonna do the human thing. We're gonna bring humans to like draw pictures of the things. They're gonna go draw them, like paint them. That's fun, isn't that fun, chap? And then you like pat him on the head. Not really, but like, it's just so interesting because that's like the way that people would treat dogs on an expedition like that. It's like, oh, I like the dog being here. He's fun. I pat him on the head. You just dog things, but it's like, they took people along just so that people would feel included. Like, they weren't involved with almost anything. That's just so interesting. Because, like, humans are so intelligent, but in a very specific way. Most of our intelligence comes from... I haven't been drawing for a while. Most of our intelligence comes from the fact that we need to, like, keep track of social relations and gossip. And if there was an alien-type device whose intelligence arose from a problem that was much more logical-based than that, like mathematics-based, they would be unrecognizably more intelligent than we are. Like, even chimpanzees can count subconsciously, like, immediately. Like, chimpanzees, you can flash a number of dots in front of their eyes for, like, a quarter second, and they will know, like, that was exactly 20 of them. Whereas humans just can't do that. Like, if you imagine, what if there was an alien intelligence that was just that much better at humans, but at everything logical? So the only thing humans were good at was, like, gossip and making, like, shitty TV shows. That's the reality Wayne Barlowe puts forth. And that is just so interesting. And I just love the idea that in a hyper-advanced intelligent race is like, hey, we found this new planet, guys. You want to come with us? Like, you're like, I don't remember if it was the first other intelligent race they found, but like at least one of them, they're like, you guys want to come with us? That'd be cool. And one of my favorite parts of the book, Expedition, is that the main character, he is accidentally related to the cause of death of one of those other aliens in those other spaceships studying the planet. And the alien species, whose name I can't remember, hence the way that I'm telling this, they are not emotionally driven like people are and do not have emotional connections to each other, especially after they die. So, like, this guy accidentally caused the death of one of the aliens and feels so bad about it. He's just so depressed because he's like, that person died because of me. And the other aliens just get mad at him and they're all frustrated. Like, why are you still upset about that? That happened like 2 months ago. Get over it. Cope. And it's just so interesting to me. They're like hyper intelligent things. Their brains can work so differently. It's like, for a person, yeah, that would be horrible. Just to know that you were the cause of death of like a sapient thing. And then all the other aliens are just like, get over it though. why are you still thinking about this? That happened already. It's neat. It's neat. It's like how a bearded dragon would not understand the concept of like tight-knit social groups in things like bats and monkeys. It's neat. Crows gossip. They do. I saw a video on the internet of crows calculating a crow murder, and then they did it. They did actual crow murder. Not a crow murder like a group of crows murder, but like an actual, they talked to each other, and then they looked at the one they were talking about, and then they talk again, and then they go and kill it on camera. It was horrifying, but they can do that. Not gonna lie, being an expedition pet for a group of aliens who think it's adorable that I drew little pictures sounds a lot better than continuing trying to struggle with paying rent. That is true. That is relatable content. The Glad Hatter. The Glad Hatter. It's an iconic name. Love to see aliens whose smarts come from playing like cockapos. That would be very interesting. I wonder if then the intelligence would be like so tightly tied to athleticism that it's sort of like a double whammy where they're expected to be intelligent and athletic at the same time. Like those are two things hand in hand and aren't separate. So they wouldn't have like the where do you work out? I work out at the library meme. Seen videos of crows starting fights between cats. Iconic. We love crows. My voice is starting to go. You know what? My voice is starting to go too much. I need to drink water. I've been on spironolactone. I need water for that. Ooh, that is not symmetrical. Oh no. Hold on, let me try and fix this quick. But anyways, I think I'm going to go. Thank you everyone for participating in our little conversation. We got about that far in our drawing. That's fun. It looks pretty nice though. It looks pretty nice. I do like that. The rest of the body is gonna take like as much time as this face is taking. Like this is the complex part. Once we get through with this, it's like done basically. And then the rest of it will be smooth sailing. But once again, thank you everyone for watching. This has been Candy Eggs, everyone's eighth or so favorite queer. That's my iconic catchphrase. I shouldn't take off my glasses yet. Thank you everybody for watching. Goodbye everybody. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and oops, that's not what I wanted. This is my picture, by the way. I hope everyone likes this. This took a long time to make and it was bugging out when I was trying to do it, which is why the stream took so long. But anyways, goodbye everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Have fun thinking about exobiology, paleontology, all those fun nerd activities. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your night. Goodbye. Have a great rest of your day, all you little homunculi on the screen. Little bits of text. Bye. Mwah. That's the creature smooching. That's the creature. Mwah. 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 Mwah.